Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Another opposition leader is now under the ED net. In a late-night drama, Cabinet Minister in Tamil Nadu, Senthil Balaji, was arrested after he was grilled for over 20 hours by the central agency in a money laundering case. He's an accused in cash for jobs scam, and his tenure as Transport Minister during J. Lalita-led AIADMK government is being investigated. But as with any probe, especially involving an opposition leader, this has once again brought most parties together against central agencies and the BJP. Opposition party chiefs like Sharad Pawar, Mamta Banerjee, Mallikarjun Kharge, Sitaram Yechury and others rallied behind the DMK and targeted the centre for misusing investigating agencies against the opposition. The BJP has slammed them for backing, quote, a corrupt minister. Tamil Nadu BJP state chief Annamalai even tweeted a 2016 video of MK Stalin, now CM, where he's attacking the same minister Senthil Balaji and accusing him of corruption. Few weeks ago, we saw how PTR was sacked from the Tamil Nadu cabinet after BJP released an alleged audio of his on money management in the DMK and assets owned by Stalin and family. Is corruption beginning to taint the DMK government? More importantly, what does Stalin do now? Should he sack Minister Senthil Balaji too? We take that question to our guests in just a bit. There was high drama all around through last night. Senthil Balaji was arrested by ED around 2 a.m. Following this, he complained of chest discomfort and was taken to the government multi-super specialty hospital in Chennai around 2:30 a.m. for a medical checkup. He wept as he was being taken in. The doctor later advised an immediate bypass surgery. Chief Minister MK Stalin rushed to the hospital to meet him and claimed vendetta politics by the centre. Earlier this evening, a Sessions Court judge visited the hospital and conducted the hearing on Senthil Balaji's custody there. The judge remanded him to judicial custody for 14 days. Now let me give you a brief information about the case itself. The period of scam under probe is from 2011 to 2015, when Senthil Balaji was Transport Minister in AIADMK's J. Lalita government. Senthil Balaji allegedly took crores of rupees for jobs like driver, mechanic and others. Despite paying bribes, several candidates were allegedly defrauded, so they didn't eventually get jobs. In 2021, Tamil Nadu Police Central Crime Branch had filed a charge sheet in this case. Senthil Balaji was also named in this. Then in 2022, ED took cognizance of the charge sheet and issued summons to Senthil Balaji in a money laundering case. Now let's take a look at Senthil Balaji's history itself. In 2011, he was appointed as the Transport Minister in Jayalalitha's cabinet. In 2015, Senthil Balaji was relieved from all the posts, but no reason was stated by the government at the time. Then in March 2018, Senthil Balaji joined TTV Dinakaran's AMMK, which branched out of the AIADMK after J. Lalita's demise. Then in September 2018, 18 AMMK MLAs, including Senthil Balaji, were disqualified. 3 months later, in December, Senthil Balaji joined DMK in MK Stalin's presence. And then, in 2021, when DMK won Tamil Nadu Assembly polls, Balaji was appointed as the Cabinet Minister in the DMK government. Now let's take a look at the charges against Senthil Balaji during his tenure as a minister. In previous stints with the AIADMK, as I mentioned, he is now accused in this cash for jobs scam, but his troubles don't end there. Even in his current stint, also as a Prohibition and Excise Minister in the DMK government, he is facing accusations over an excise scam worth crores of rupees. Of course, that's an allegation that has been thrown so far by the opposition. Now, this case has been an interesting one. The way the Supreme Court has intervened at many steps to actually see this case through to this stage. In May this year, the Supreme Court had set aside Madras High Court order directing a fresh probe in this matter. The Supreme Court asked the ED to continue the probe into the charges against Senthil Balaji and finish it in 2 months. The SC had even remarked then, and this is a point to be noted, that it is shocking that the High Court ordered a reinvestigation ab initio, wiping out the previous probe. The Supreme Court also set aside High Court order quashing summons to the minister by the ED. This is because in October last year, Madras High Court asked for a fresh probe without a reference to the previous probe. The Madras High Court had earlier also quashed criminal complaint in this case. Shockingly, the Madras High Court had accepted a petition that those who took and gave bribes have come to a formula of compromise. A two-judge bench of the Supreme Court then restored the criminal complaint. Today, Justice R. Sektival recused himself from hearing Senthil Balaji's plea, which is questioning the arrest. Also today, a hearing was conducted in the hospital where the judge eventually sent him to 14th-day judicial custody. His bail plea order is now resolved. Politically, the already hot state of Tamil Nadu has become hotter with this minister's arrest, and it has a spillover effect, as I mentioned, with other opposition parties also joining in. So Chief Minister Stalin has called this raid undemocratic. State BJP chief has reminded the Chief Minister of how he himself had raised questions over the same minister in the past. DMK has also alleged that ED has acted in a dehumanizing manner. BJP is saying that the Chief Minister and the party is now playing a victim card. DMK is also alleging that ED has violated legal procedures as far as this arrest is concerned. That matter might be fought legally. The state BJP on its part has demanded that the minister be sacked by the MK Stalin government. So the big debate that's coming up, will that actually happen? Will there be pressure on MK Stalin now to sack the minister, given that in the past there is video evidence of him questioning this minister? Of course, he has joined them since. But what is the next course of action for the DMK government, and more coming up in just a bit.
Tamil Nadu people are not going to forgive anybody who is going to support DMK in this particular thing, because it's a very clear case of corruption.
பத்திரிகை செய்தி வெளி வட்டாரத்தில் செய்தியெல்லாம் தெரிவிக்கின்றன.
முன்னாடி அரசுடைய இந்த ஹோட்டல் மெட்ரிக்லாம் திராவிட முன்னேற்றம் 5வது நாங்கள் மிஸ்ஸாவே பார்த்தவங்க நாங்கள் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணோம். சட்டப்படி ஆக்ஷன்.
மெக்கானிக் பணிக்கு 6 லட்சம் என்று கொடுத்து ஏமாந்திருக்கக்கூடியவர்கள் லட்சக்கணக்கான. இது குறித்து 48 பேர் புகாரும் கொடுத்திருக்கிறாங்க. ஆள் கடத்தல் புகாருக்கு உள்ளான அவருக்கு இப்போது தேர்தலில் போட்டியிட.
Let's go across to the guest joining us. Vinita Hariharan is from the BJP. I'm also joined by S. Ravanthi Palwai of the Congress Party. R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist, Suman C. Raman, political analyst, also with us. Suman, let me begin with you. Is it fair for the DMK government to cry foul now, given that there's a long history as far as this case is concerned and the allegations against this particular minister? Forget the fact that he was in a previous party earlier, he joined the DMK recently, etc.
Look, I think, Shivani, we should make a clear distinction between two things. One, the facts of the case. This is a case which has gone to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court has said the ED can continue to investigate and the investigations into this do not have to be restarted. So therefore, what is happening, there is no problem. I think what the DMK can object to is the nature of the arrest.
The manner in which?
Yeah, the manner in which he was picked up at 2 a.m. This is an 8-year-old case. I mean, where is the need for a midnight arrest? He could easily have been arrested this morning, or he could have been arrested yesterday in the afternoon. So I think that there are two issues here. One is the manner of arrest, which the DMK has been critical about. But let's face it, most of these charges, especially in this particular case, against Mr. Senthil Balaji, were made by Mr. Stalin when he was leader of the opposition. So I don't think the DMK can take the moral high ground here. But the concern for the DMK is that this may not be limited to this 2015 case alone. There have been income tax raids a few weeks ago on Mr. Senthil Balaji's close associates, including his brother. Following that, the ED raids yesterday. And Mr. Senthil Balaji is known to be one of the confidants of the Chief Minister, handling two very meaty portfolios of electricity and prohibition, which includes TASMAC, which is the liquor stores run by the state government. So I think that there is a concern in the DMK that this may not stop with Mr. Senthil Balaji. This may go further up. And That is why you see the DMK come out with all guns blazing today in trying to defend this man. After all, 5 years ago, he was in the opposition. He was not with the DMK at all. So I think that there are two issues here. The DMK is a little nervous as to where this may lead to. And the second point, of course, is that...
Fair enough what you're saying. The manner of it, I'll go across to our other guests as well. But, Sumant, I do need to point out that the DMK is not just questioning the manner, as, of course, they will do in court as well, and that's their fair right. They are indeed questioning the very arrest itself and the case itself. So does that not smack of hypocrisy?
No, as far as I know, they have not questioned the case.
In fact, they have. Mr. Stalin himself has called it vendetta.
No, he's calling the arrest and the activities surrounding the manner in which he was taken into custody as vendetta. Because, look, when Mr. Senthil Balaji joined the DMK, they said he will continue to face these cases. So to be fair to them, they have not said that this case is political vendetta. Because, mind you, they were the ones who made the charges against Mr. Senthil Balaji. So they have not called the case vendetta. They've called the manner of the arrest vendetta.
Yes, but you look at all the narrative from the DMK plus the opposition parties. They're questioning, of course, what the central agencies are doing to opposition leaders, right? And that obviously ties in to the entire narrative that agencies are being misused by the BJP against opposition leaders. But in this case, you're saying that at least as far as this case is concerned, there is no bone to pick on the fact that Mr. Senthil is under the scanner. But let me bring in some of our other guests in as well. From the Congress party, the Congress has joined in, of course, naturally because you're ally partners. But again, my question to you is the same. Mr. Stalin himself is on record to question this minister. He's had a checkered past. The case goes back a long way. In fact, the Supreme Court, as I mentioned earlier, this May asked the ED to go full hammers against, Mr. Senthil in this investigation. Then what is the problem? Where is the misuse of the agencies? This matter has been going back and forth between the Madras High Court and the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court directed the ED to complete this investigation within 2 months. In fact, they said that if you don't, then we'll appoint an investigating officer.
Well, the government, the ED right now is following the orders of the court because the court has asked them to complete the investigation in 2 months. Well, there was no need for you to go and arrest someone at 2 o'clock in the night.
Okay.
When the investigations were on, you were going through the entire process. No one objected the ED from conducting these raids or doing any kind of inquiries. Why all these high drama? Unless it is actually targeting those people, trying to mentally break them down. So because this has been a clear vendetta case, if you're actually looking at the ED probes that have happened since 2014, you would see that there have been over 150 cases of ED that have happened, 150 cases of opposition leaders who have been under ED scanner. So
but ma'am, that in itself doesn't prove anything. Each case has to be looked at from its own merits. Let's discuss this case. In this case, is there not merit to go against this minister? Is it actually, just because he's a minister today doesn't mean that, the charges become less, problematic. In fact, the fact that in the court, in the Madras High Court, the minister concerned went and said that we've compromised, quote unquote, with those who've been defrauded, in itself is an acceptance of guilt.
No one is objecting to the ED inquiries here. We all are talking about the high drama that's going all around.
Okay, fair enough. You're saying we don't question, but let's hope that is the case then. Because I've heard enough reactions from all opposition parties plus the DMK. There is a suggestion and a hint of the fact that this is plain witch hunt that has been going on against all opposition leaders. You just brought in the fact that there have been 150 cases against opposition leaders. But that in itself, as I said, does not denounce this minister of the charges he is facing. And those are historical charges he's facing well before this government came to power.
Well, the law gives everyone the right to defend themselves unless they're proven guilty. Okay, and here it is, you're doing the investigation.
No, fair enough. In that
fair enough. We are not objecting to any kind of investigation that is happening.
But you are.
The entire manner in which the ED investigation is happening, needing to. Do you need to arrest someone at 1:30 or 2 o'clock?
Ma'am, but that's not your call. That's the call of the agency. And if the arrest is illegal, then let the court weigh in on that.
See, the court will actually take cognizance of all facts before giving any kind of order. We agree on that. But here we are talking about what is the need for all these high drama that you're running in.
You can ask
Do you
that
want
as
to
an opposition party.
sensationalize?
No, that's fair enough.
Do you
fair
want
enough.
to
I'm not getting into that just yet. But you are questioning the ED investigations at the same time saying that we are not questioning it. The moment you say this is witch hunt in the larger scheme of things, that is questioning the ED investigation. But I'll take both your points. Before I go across to our BJP representative, let me bring in R. Rajagopalan as well. You know, this was going to be a hot potato for the DMK government. Is it that they didn't see this coming? Because when they inducted him, they knew of the charges that this man faces. And they made him minister, and he's important minister in a couple of other ministries.
Shivani, the inside story in DMK is very peculiar. 4 ministers have gone out of this charge. Last week, Mastan, Ovin Milk Dairy Minister, was sacked because he did some bungling, corruption. Yes. Second thing, Painivel Tyagarajan audio tape, you must have known about it. You must have heard about it. Yeah. 30,000 crores Udayanidhi Sabareesan. So apart from that, now our question is futuristic. Let us not debate why, last night arrest, midnight drama, that there should be a special consideration for ministers like that. This argument is irrelevant. My point is, will Mr. Senthil Balaji resign? And to whom this portfolio will go, either to Udayanidhi or to Durai Murugan or to anyone. My understanding is old-timers in DMK are happy. Sumant Raman will vouchsafe that because at least 3 of them I spoke to this morning, since morning. 3 of them are very happy that, we were in DMK for more than 40 years, 50 years. Yesterday comers, day before yesterday comers. And yesterday comers have been given a task of a heavy portfolio and long list of demands.
But do you believe
my understanding is
okay, fair enough. There may be internal party dynamics, but the larger question for the country and for the government is this going to be a trouble for the Stalin government? And would it be the right thing to do to then sack the minister, given the charges that he's facing?
DMK problem starts from today. And moreover, my understanding is Mr. M.K. Stalin, day before yesterday, went on record saying that DMK will vouchsafe who should not be the Prime Minister in 2024. They go negative of it. And my understanding is, day before yesterday, when Mr. Amit Shah went to Chennai, there was a blackout and same Senthil Balaji said, 45 minutes, there was a power cut. So if the administration is at loose ends, Mr. Stalin could not control the administrators and also his ministers. And Stalin himself admits that he is not getting sleep during night time. He went on record last month in the General Council meeting of DMK. So therefore, my understanding is DMK is facing internal crisis.
Okay. Vinita Hariharan, I want to come to you on the larger issue of the central agencies. As you heard your Congress counterpart repeat that charge, that this is a larger narrative of a witch hunt against opposition leaders. We don't really see or hear of any investigations or cases in members who have joined you from previous opposition parties. We don't really see such dramatic arrests of anyone concerned, even remotely, with the BJP. But, when it comes to opposition parties, the agencies not only seem to be in a haste as far as cases are concerned, but the manner in which they're going ahead and arresting sitting minister is a matter of concern.
So absolutely not. So the ED and the Supreme Court and the lawmakers concerned are absolutely impartial when it comes to taking action against the accused. And so the ED is proactive. Definitely they are proactive because of the failure of the local courts. And when you see this history of the case itself, you can see how the High Court has not really done its due diligence and how there was a case of conspiracy in terms of the accused and the complainant coming hand in glove. And so this is a complete case where the ED had to step in because of the failure of the courts at the lower level. So the ED had to intervene, and it is the prime duty of the ED to do so.
No, fair enough. But what about the fact that these cases are only being pursued against opposition leaders?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's about who are the criminals and who are the people who have to be witch hunted, or if you want to call it witch hunted, but the ED will do its role and it will do its job against those who are accused.
And is it justified? No, madam, is it justified to arrest a sitting minister like this? What was the tearing hurry to do this post midnight?
Absolutely no tearing hurry. It's a case that's been going on since 2014, and the case has been at several levels. There have been investigations, and there have been loopholes in the investigations done at the local level. And it's a case where it's a compromise of, as it's quoted by the sources, that compromise of justice, fair play, fundamental principles of criminal jurisprudence. That is when the enforcement directorate has stepped in. So how, when it is done, is shifting the goalpost of the entire case, and to shift the entire focus of the case when Stalin himself has put his foot in his mouth, when we've had old clips saying that Stalin himself going outright against Senthil Balaji and his corruption. And
so your demand now is the BJP's demand now is that you want this minister to be sacked. How are you going to take forward this demand in the state of Tamil Nadu?
So we will let the law take its own course, and we will definitely law is taking action very quickly, and it's being catalyzed in the proactive regime of this government. And once that is done, we will definitely see how this can be done in terms of sacking the minister concerned.
Okay, so Mansi Raman, do you believe that would be the right thing to do for Stalin now?
No, I think that
absolutely the right thing.
Sumansi Raman, please.
He's answerable. He's answerable to the people of the state. So definitely, he, in his moral ground, if he has to hold a high moral ground, he has to take that action.
Okay. Ms. Hariharan, please pull back. Yes, Sumansi Raman.
No, I don't think that the DMK will drop this minister, because I think that he is considered to be too close to the DMK first family. So and if he starts cooperating, beyond a point with the investigating agencies, then how things could pan out could be very tricky. So I don't expect the DMK government.
But then wouldn't that invite a charge of taint on them? The fact that they're not even willing to, sack a minister who has such serious charges against them. I mean, there is a cost analysis here, right?
Even when Kanimuri was arrested, so many ministers did not queue up to go and see her. And today, from morning, almost the entire cabinet has been sitting in the hospital with this man. And then the chief minister goes and sees him. The DMK lawyers file the appeal. In fact, Mr. N.R. Ilango, who's a Rajya Sabha MP of the DMK, he is the one who argues the case for Senthil Balaji before the court in the evening. So they have decided that they are going to go all out to defend Senthil Balaji.
Let me reframe my question then. Could this case become an albatross around the DMK's neck then?
I think
politically they don't care enough about the fallout?
No, if this is purely about that 3 crore or 4 crore which Mr. Senthil Balaji is alleged to have received in 2015, then clearly there will be no issues and no problems for the DMK. But if the enforcement directorate has got their hands on something more in the last few days, during the raids and during the IT raids which happened earlier on in nearly about 30-40 places, if that is the case, then all bets are off. But if it relates purely to the 2015 case, then I think the damage to the DMK is not going to be significant.
Okay. Let me also bring in the element of what has happened in this case in courts. I found it very, very interesting, which is why I chose to highlight it. And Sumant and Rajagopalanji, I'll ask you for your views. Sumant, I ran this whole history of how many times Senthil Balaji almost received a reprieve of sorts as far as the Madras High Court is concerned.
There is a historic judgment where it said that since the money was repaid,
then there's no crime.
So the Supreme Court literally, came down very hard on that judgment of the Madras High Court. I mean, it was shocking. Even at the time it was passed, there were a lot of people who raised serious questions about that judgment, where the man being a public servant, where you cannot reach a compromise in a prevention of corruption case. Even if the money is like saying, then I'm sure anybody who's caught in a corruption case would be more than happy to repay the money, right?
That's not where it ended. The High Court even quashed the criminal complaint in this case.
Absolutely.
The High Court quashed summons in this case. The High Court even asked for the probe to go on, but minus the probe that has already taken place. So a fresh probe.
Exactly.
So this is I don't want to say anything more, but this does raise eyebrows.
it raised eyebrows at that time. There were people who commented and said that this is a shocking judgment. And there was no surprise at all when the Supreme Court overturned it. Though, interestingly, the state did not go to the Supreme Court. It was another individual who went to the Supreme Court against this order. It was not the state government which said, "Oh my God, this judgment seems to be, bad in law, and we should take it up to the Supreme Court."
The reason I'm highlighting this is because, as Rajagopalan, as citizens, this makes us concerned. Of the nexus where there is such bravado in a case like this of corruption, where the minister accused of corruption is going to court and saying, "Oh, I have given back the money, so now there's no problem." And, the court admits it. And if it wasn't for the Supreme Court directing the ED to carry on this investigation, God only knows what would have happened to a case like this.
This is first time in Indian history such a case is being fought. Supreme Court came down heavily. You missed the point, Shivani. The Supreme Court also threatened the Tamil Nadu police.
Yes.
If you don't properly investigate ED and
we'll
Tamil Nadu
appoint
police,
an investigation
we
officer.
will form a special investigating committee, special investigating team, SIT. So therefore, Supreme Court heavily, was after the law. Now, Shivani, legal matters are over. He has been arrested. Now it turns to be a political. Will Mr. Stalin sack Mr. Senthil Balaji? I differ from Mr. Sumantraman. Yes, he will sack him in another 1 or 2 days because the income tax is also raiding simultaneously in the Karur, his village, Senthil Balaji's village.
Yes.
Apart from that, last month, Udayani, the foundation was frozen. The Enforcement Directorate did it, and the first family's houses were also raided. Therefore, it's going to be a long queue of ED raids. Tamil Nadu has come into the focus. Mr. Stalin, politically, if he is very smart, he will drop the minister and clear his hands, because it is the same MK Stalin who gave a complaint to Punwal Lal Purohit, governor, stating that this minister should be sacked.
Okay.
But the same minister was accommodated by him.
Exactly. This is a very curious case, and I certainly feel like in today's time and age, you can't live down something like this, even if it was possible a few decades ago. Ms. Palwai, I come back to you. Given the nature of this case, both legally and politically, does it not blunt the opposition's charge that you are being attacked by central agencies? Actually, the charge of corruption and very, very verifiable cases are all against, opposition leaders. If not the Congress itself in this case, then your partner, and you will also face the question of supporting this, of abject corruption.
Shivaniji, if you take a look at the history, starting from Sudhendru Adhikari to Mukul Roy to Narayan Rane, all those who had faced ED allegations, the minute they joined BJP, everything was dropped. It was whitewashed. So similarly, if all these cases, what happened to the Vipum case? What happened to the Rafael scam? Why is the
Ma'am,
ED not
Rafael
acting
scam
on all
should
those?
be brought in the same breath. There was no scam. The Supreme Court has ordered on that matter.
Right. So all these, the ED has so many other cases pending before them. So the haste in which they acted, well, here you state that the Supreme Court has given you directions to complete everything in 2 months. So there is a need to run and hasten up everything. Agreed. The Supreme Court has given an order, you're doing it. But for an 8-year-old case, the haste in which you're acting, the drama, everything is reeking of
you didn't
vendetta.
answer my question.
Really?
The fact that this minister was in a different government, had corruption charges raised by MK Stalin, supported by you, now in the government supported by you, that blunts your charge of the washing machine on the BJP, because you've done effectively the same.
The truth will come out. We are not running away from it. We are saying law will take its own course.
Okay.
Neither is Mr. MK Stalin nor is anyone interfering in the ED inquiry. But we are asking what happened to the other ED inquiries that happened earlier. This is not the first case. There have been so many other cases. There have been cases against the Reddy brothers in Bellary.
Okay.
What happened
Yes,
to all
Mr.
of them?
Rajagopalan, you want to come in 30 seconds, and the BJP representative.
There is a case against Sonia Gandhi also on National Herald. Whether Congress spokesperson agrees to that also?
We are fighting
She's
it out
on
in the
bail.
court of
Sonia
law, sir.
Gandhi is on bail.
We are fighting it out in the court of law. The justice will prevail.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Hariharan, I'll give you the final 30 seconds. You know, there is, of course, a problem of perception for the BJP. As I said, we don't witness this, you know, happening for anybody associated with the BJP, even remotely associated with the BJP.
So first of all, this is a case by the ED and by the Supreme Court and not by the BJP against anybody else. And it is the 13 victims of this case which have filed the charges from time, you know, from the various points of time in the case as you trace back the case, as you've done it very well in the channel. So it's not a case of BJP against anybody else. And the law is absolutely impartial. And whoever is proven guilty, there would be charges and probes against them. So it's just not showing any partiality. So if you're questioning the the merit of the arrest, then you have to question the merit of the Supreme Court and the ED. That's what you're doing. You're questioning.
Well, the only thing under question now is if in the manner in which this arrest was done was right or wrong, and I think there is a plea for that in the court. The courts will weigh in on that. Yes, Sumant, you want to say something? Final 20 seconds, please.
Yeah, Shivani, I think there's still plenty to come out in this case. I think we should all hold our horses because Senthil Balaji is often referred to as the Eknath Shinde of Tamil Nadu. So what could happen is something that we need to wait and see. How much pressure would be put on him? What is the evidence that the ED has? Would he crack under the weight of that evidence? How far the DMK will go in defending him? None of this is known at this point of time. So I think we should hold. But
you're suggesting that he is pretty much a heavyweight, and taking him down is going to be difficult. Is that what you're suggesting?
He's considered a money bag. Okay, so a recent by-election, it is believed that over 100 crore was spent on one by-election. I mean, unimaginable even 15, 20 years ago. So he's considered a money bag. He's considered very close to the first family of the state. So to what extent, I agree entirely that they should probably be distancing themselves from him at this stage. But the way they've come out, all guns blazing in support, me that there is
makes
some
you feel that there are no difference.
Themselves.
Okay. You know, the fact that we say all of this openly and the analysts are saying it, and it has become normalized in India when we talk about corruption, it is in itself a matter of concern, and it always makes me a little bit concerned as a journalist.